Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Bladiuss, and today we have a new game in store. Today we're playing Helldivers 2. This is actually my first time playing the game. I've seen before some videos and stuff, but this is my actual first time playing the game. I've heard a lot of good things about it. So yeah, this is going to be my first mission. Wanna join in? Let's see how it goes. On my first mission, I arrived on a deserted planet. Everything was grim and resembled a wasteland. Now I understand why the game is called Helldivers. Initially, I didn't know exactly what to do or how to interact with most of the items in the world. How can I drop this? So I turned to the nearest visible point of interest, and to my surprise, it was already occupied by some unfriendly-looking individuals. As I was just chilling, they suddenly shot the first bullet. Naturally, I responded and started firing back. To my surprise, they were rather weak. A single shot could take them down. Quickly, I cleaned up the whole place. However, once I had the area to myself, I became a little lost with my objective. I hadn't noticed the sequence marked on the screen that I needed to input to complete the objective.
A few moments later. 2,000 years later.
Consequently, I wandered around aimlessly, not really knowing what I was doing. For example, it took me an eternity to figure out how to dismount from a turret. I was completely lost, but eventually, after some trial and error, I discovered how to use the stratagem Super Earth Flag. It took forever for the flag to be fully raised. The humorous part was that the flag was being raised while patriotic music was playing in the background. As I waited for the flag to reach its maximum height, I was attacked and the real fight began. Soon I found myself running away from fire tornadoes. When I returned, I realized I was out of ammo. Fortunately, the fire tornadoes were destroying the enemies for me. Then I remembered seeing a resupply option within my stratagems. Once the supplies arrived, I remembered that I was supposed to guard the flag until it reached its maximum height. To my surprise, the flag hadn't moved while I was away, so my only option was to remain still while the flag was raising. Of course, the game picked up on that and sent a fire tornado behind my back just to kill me. Upon returning in another pot, I retrieved my weapons, and like a dedicated gamer, I started complaining until the mission was completed. So all of this just to raise a flag. However, it turned out that I had to go to a different location for extraction from the planet. We went to the marked location, input the code, and just like that, we were out of the hellhole. We ended up receiving almost 800 credits for our first victory. For our second mission, we were quickly greeted by a party committee, but not one of the good ones. Not that there are any.
These are all terrible ideas.
And so the fight began, but this time we weren't fighting those scrawny little enemies from before. This time, they had really tough to penetrate bulletproof armor that caught me by surprise. They were big and bad and they knew it. So they started shooting, and I had to fall back to take cover. Soon, I completely lost track of the main mission, and started focusing on ways to take down these new enemies. I began aiming for their heads, and to my surprise, it actually worked. One went down, now I only had to deal with the rest. But of course, that was easier said than done.
Not today!
Not today, baby. Soon, the fight became unmanageable. Yeah, I had completely lost track of the mission. And with only 11 minutes left, the odds weren't in our favor. Soon enough, I found myself with low health and no stims. And of course, the enemy wouldn't stop sending more troops after me. Once again, I remembered that I had the resupply option, so I used it in the hopes of not dying while waiting for help to arrive. It all looked grim, and I was surrounded by those armored gunners, so naturally, I died by a fire tornado once again. Once I came back, I received a message that snapped me out of it and reminded me that I was actually on a rescue mission. Of course, when I got to the actual mission location, the place was swarmed with enemies, and I still needed to figure out how to rescue the survivors. We only had less than 2 minutes left. Needless to say, we failed the mission and returned home with no credits in our pockets. Okay, that didn't go that well, but it's time for us for our third try. The first few minutes of our new mission passed quickly and without problems. But given that this game is called Helldivers, we knew it wouldn't stay that way for long. Suddenly, a new ally joined the party, so I wasn't alone anymore. Maybe we had a chance.
Son of a bitch.
With the broadcast tower located and the signal terminated, it was time for us to leave the planet. However, my companion wanted to complete all the side missions for more credits, so I went along. Who would have guessed that partnering up would make things easier? We proceeded to sweep the entire area of enemies while earning credits at the same time. This guy knew what he was doing. Needless to say, from then on, we managed to achieve a new victory. Okay, we did it. On our fourth mission, I realized that the loading screen in this game is one of the coolest I've ever seen. From our last mission, we learned that these containers are full of ammo and weapons, so we popped it open and proceeded to loot it. Sadly, it all went downhill after that. Seemingly out of nowhere, a horde of enemies started descending upon me, accompanied by a new type of enemy, a rocket devastator. These guys were super scary and were responsible for 3 out of my 5 deaths during this mission. That's another thing I learned here. You die 5 times and you fail the mission. Now it was time for our 5th and final mission of the playthrough, and we had to go out with a bang since I had my eye on a new weapon and for only 3,000 credits. And this victory would hopefully lead me to buy it. Right from the start, we got great news. We weren't alone for this one. User Nick Thornton had joined the party, and he was a level 14. If there was someone who could carry me to victory, it was him. The guy knew everything, from finding secret loot to summoning incredible weapons, so I thought we had this mission in the bag. However, we weren't prepared for what was coming. A new type of enemy had arrived.
How? How did they think that was okay to even put it in the game?
And it was deadlier than any other enemy seen before. And it wasn't just me being killed. Nick Thornton was having a rough time too, so we needed to find a way to kill this thing before it was too late. Over and over, the canyon turret wiped the floor with us. But your boy wasn't going to let this old rust take away the opportunity to buy a new weapon. That's right, it was me who found out the way to kill the machine. Simply put, you just have to shoot it in the back, like a real trooper. Once we took care of that, we found the launch codes and arrived at the launch terminal, where they needed to be retrieved. Unfortunately, fire tornadoes were waiting for us there.
Oh, here we go again.
Seriously, I had to revive Nick like 3 times, because he kept getting killed. Unfortunately, I wasn't being of much help either, since I didn't know how to operate the launch codes. So while Nick was taking care of the codes, I took upon the enemy forces. Luckily, Nick lent me his kick-ass drone that practically did all the work for me. We managed to launch the ICBM and completed the mission, although we still had to get to the extraction point. Once there, things got crazy with a bunch of enemies, and my nemesis, of course, the fire tornado. I used a rocket launcher to dispatch the Star Wars-like robots, and with that, we were out of the planet. And with that, my new weapon unlocked. So this has been my take on the game. This is Bladiuss signing off, and as always, happy surviving. Bye bye.